Thank you, Chairman Coker, Senator Menendez, and other members of the Foreign Relations Committee for holding this hearing today. I'm an advocate, a survivor of human trafficking, and the founder of Mentari, a non-profit organization dedicated to providing human trafficking survivors with mentorship and job training to help them rebuild their lives. In my native Indonesia, I was college educated, financial analyst employed by International Bank. I lost my job on 1998 because of political turbulence, fell out. So I expanded the job to United States, and after I responding the advertisement for job in a hotel Chicago, I checked my legal document, pay $3,000 recruitment fee, accepted to the position, and I flew to New York City. I entered to the United States lawfully on non-immigrant visa arranged to the recruitment agency that brought me here. I was picked at the airport with 5 other women, and soon our passport were forcibly taken and our lives threatened, and the situation became clear. We were being trafficked into sex trade, and they asked me to pay $30,000 to be free. I managed to escape, and I cooperated with law enforcement to successfully prosecute my trafficker, and we rescued many girls. It was hard for me to survive because there were not many services available to help me. Safe Horizon New York assisted me to stay legally in the United States. I believe to end human trafficking globally, the United States government needs to focus on prevention and strengthening policies to prosecute the traffickers and to provide victims with stable and sustainable support. And I also believe that policymakers should listen to the voices and opinions of survivors of human trafficking, and I thank you for doing that today. One of the best ways to prevent human trafficking is through education and awareness. I urge Congress to invest in supporting and encouraging countries to implement programs that will make people more aware and will help them question whether a job opportunity is legitimate or the work of criminal labor recruiters like the one I met in Indonesia. So labor recruiters and contractors are directly involved in the trafficking and exploitation of workers around the world. Corrupt recruiters make false promises about the job and charge workers high recruitment fees that force workers to stay in abusive or exploitative working conditions under their bondage. Mr. Chairman, last year, Congress considered but didn't pass the Fraudulent Overseas Recruitment and Trafficking Elimination or FORTE Act of 2013. I urge you to support introduction and passage of similar legislation this year. This would require that workers coming to the United States receive accurate information about the job and working condition they are being offered, and would also ensure that workers do not have to pay recruitment fee. Other important step of U.S. government can take to prevent human trafficking is to demand transparency in supply chains for products that are sold in the United States. California passed legislation that requires companies to publicly disclose their effort, if any, they are taking to ensure their supply chains do not include forced labor. Congress should support supply chain transparency on federal level, and Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney has introduced the Business Supply Chain Transparency on Human Trafficking and Slavery Act in the House to achieve this goal. I also urge Congress to strengthen the United States' role in developing a shared global foreign policy to prosecute the traffickers. Building our capacity to conduct inter-country investigation and prosecution should be high priority in that effort. Mr. Chairman, I want also to ask today for your support for Senate Companion to H.R. 500, the Survivors of Human Trafficking Empowerment Act. This bill will create a survivor-led U.S. Advisory Council on Human Trafficking to review federal government policy programs on human trafficking, and it's also important that survivors play a role in finding solutions to end modern slavery. This proposed legislation is a great step forward. I want to close by saying something about human trafficking survivors. It is very difficult for survivors to recover from such terrible experience. It is challenging when you are in the country where you don't speak the language and have little or no support. I hope U.S. government will recognize the need to provide sustainable support for survivors, including long-term support to help survivors receive training and opportunities to gain employment. I believe United States can and should be a leader in demonstrating the best practice to the world. Thank you.